Welcome to the PCS Adventures Educator Spotlight Series. In today's sponsored feature story, we're exploring how global art is uniting generations inside an Idaho library. We spoke with Krista Hain, a librarian in Orofino, to find out how she's engaging kids, teens, and even inspiring adults to try something new. And it starts with the Traveling Artist Program by PCS Adventures. Tell me first why you chose this specific program, and then walk me through your experience when you first received the shipment and what you found in the box and the supplies and how you actually started implementing that into your learning environment.
The theme for summer reading for Idaho this year is Color Your World. And so it fit right into that, the creativity in it. And it looked like a great package and I just couldn't pass it up. I felt like it was more geared towards, I usually do a lot of preschoolers. And this seemed like it could be I could adapt it to older kids, which is a harder group for me to reach, especially because of school. And then when I got it, I was so pleasantly surprised because everything was included in the box. And when I started looking through the instruction manual, my immediate thought was, here is my whole summer reading program already figured out for me. And that was a big thrill. The one thing that I wished had happened was I wish it had more children participate, but our community is very small. We only have about 3,000 people in Orofino properly, and only about 8,000 in the county wide. So it is a smaller area, but I was still pleased. I was still pleased with the kids that came and they had a great time with it. And it was fun to unload the box because the more I unloaded it, the more I realized everything was right there for me. And so what I did was I actually ordered more of the same materials. So if the classes ended up being more, or if I wanted to do the lesson again, then I would have all the materials. And plus I sent you a picture of the 3 books. We also have books for every single lesson already. I already have them in boxes. And so when I do the class, I already have a free book for every child that comes. And because I have so many of the materials, I also can do the classes numerous times as well.
And then just walk me through some of those classes. So even though your groups were small, what were some of those activities that you focused on, and what were some of those specific moments that the kids were extra engaged or excited about what they were involved in with some of these projects?
The first one I did was on origami with the dragons and the Chinese dragon. And that was the largest class that I had. And I had 11 children show up with that, plus 5 adults. I always include the adults because the adults they help the smaller kids. And the older kids were helping the younger kids do the origami. 7-year-olds, if they were like 5 or 6, they did struggle doing the origami dragon, but the parents were also there. I asked the parents to come. The older kids took it, and you can see from some of the photos I sent you, one of the girls, she just did this tiny little miniature Chinese dragon, and that was what she wanted to do, which was great because that's her creativity coming out. And that was the whole purpose for me, for the program, was to see what the kids can actually do. For each of the classes, I had done the project and I showed it to them, but I also wanted them to make the project be their own. So the dragons was the first one. And then I also did Japanese shumenagashi paper making. And I had 5 adults come to that without children. And because they saw it and they said, can I come? And I said, sure, not a problem, as long as the class isn't full. And they really enjoyed it. They got into, well, what happens if I just pour all of this ink in there and not stir it up, or what if I shake it? And the adults had a great time, and that was a lot of fun. I didn't expect that, and they were wanting to do the class again some other time. With the masks, they were what they ended up doing was wanting to actually make it a mask they could wear. And so we poked holes in it, and then I had the bands that go around, and everybody got a band. And so that was just an extra step that I kind of thought maybe would happen, and then when it did, I had all the materials ready to do it. So that was a lot of fun.
And really quickly too, and it sounds like, especially with the origami one, you had the younger kids and the older kids for helping them. Talk to me about the sense of community when you bring together all those different ages and kind of those, just a teaching opportunity for those older kids and the younger kids looking up to them.
I did. And a lot of the kids that I get are actually homeschoolers. So they're used to helping the younger kids. And it just kind of happened naturally. And so it was interesting to watch the parents. The Shumenagashi paper making was more of a community thing too, because when the younger kids heard the adults playing around with the ink and can I do this and can I do that? Then the kids also started doing that as well. So there was interaction there. It might not have been verbal, but it was definitely there.
Yeah, oh, they're having fun
Yes.
doing this.
Yes.
Oh, I want to be involved. And that
Yes.
makes me wonder too, what are some of these lifelong skills that these kids, young and old, are developing? Why is STEAM so important to integrate into library learning environments or after school programs?
I didn't give them a whole lot of instruction at first. I wanted them to look at what we were doing and see if they could figure it out. And for me, just learning to read the directions is huge. It's important for me to teach the other kids because it's a problem for me as an adult. And another one was just to enjoy it and have fun. This is a STEM activity, but I don't actually call it that. I don't call any of my stuff, like, oh, this is like school. I want it to be coming to the library to be fun and not like school, but you're still learning without realizing it. That's kind of what I like to do.
And then talk to me about incorporating some of these fun books that go hand in hand with some of these STEAM activities. And then you, as a librarian, like you put in your email to me, of course, that's the best part about being a librarian, right? Getting kids to read and being able to hand out these books. So talk to me a little bit about that and how in this type of a learning environment where it's a library setting, you get these kids or adults in the door, and then what are some of those other benefits that you're seeing when all of a sudden they're surrounded by books and they didn't intend to come in and look for a book, but maybe there's a benefit there?
Yeah, there is. I actually have an art cart and I have a lot of toys in the kids section. Fortunately for my library, physically, the kids section is pretty separated from the adult section, so they actually can make quite a bit of noise without a problem. And so I have a lot of times I will put on display science related books and I shuffle them around, and anything that's kind of theme related, I will set out and let the kids find stuff. It's hard to get kids into the nonfiction. I've just realized that if I display some of the nonfiction over in the fiction section for the kids, they are actually starting to look at it. So it's just learning tricks like that to get the kids to realize that there's more than fiction in life, that they can, and I ask questions all the time and I feed off the kids. I did a story time with kids last month and I was wearing glasses, and one little girl in the kindergarten class had glasses on. And the first thing one of the kids did, and I've seen these kids all year, but one of the first things the kids said was, "Can you put your finger through your lens or through your glasses?" And I said, "No." So I took them off and we talked all about, concave and how the lenses work and do they know anybody that has, glasses and that kind of thing. And so that was an impromptu thing, but it was STEM related and they had no idea, which I absolutely love.
Some of the best conversations are ones that are just totally impromptu. Somebody asks a question and you just run with it. Very fun. Yeah, I've done some substitute teaching, and those have been my favorite moments as well, when all of a sudden you're off topic, but everyone is learning a lot.
Right.
Speaking to just other educators, whether they are in a library or a school environment or any, what would you say to them to maybe encourage them to start integrating more STEM or STEAM related programs into their learning environment?
Well, I just went and attended a summer reading workshop, and they had one of the traveling artist kits there as a giveaway. So when I stood up, we all had to stand up and introduce ourselves. And so when I stood up and introduced myself, I told them how great that kit was and that I am using it. And I'm available if, whoever wins it would like, to talk to me, that was fine. So I really praised it up because it is a great kit. The teachers at our particular school, they would have everything that they need for their classroom because they're of the size of their classroom and because of how many, there's 12 lessons. So, you could just spread them out and that's a whole year's worth of STEM activities for them. So, yeah, I'll definitely, say things like that, say, everything is provided. This is a great kit. All you have to do is open it up and decide what date you're going to do something.
Is there anything that we haven't talked about yet that you have thought about and want to add based on your experience with this program? Just thinking about any of the projects.
Right. It was just fun. And I think like when I would show them what I did before they started, it looked harder to them than they realized. But once they followed those directions step by step and saw that, oh, this isn't that difficult. And then they ended up, and I had some make more than one of the project because they had time. And I allotted, in the book, it said an hour, but I said 10 o'clock and I didn't want to say till 12, but it technically was. Now with the mass, we really did need the 2 hours because I was doing 2 different projects on the same day. But, pretty much it was downright to the time. And so that would be an encouragement for a teacher to know ahead of time, how long would this take? And they could even split it up and do it at separate times on a day. The thing I liked and the thing I have to focus on is that we can't keep a project overnight because there's no guarantee that a child will return the next time we want to finish the project. So it has to be finished that day at that time. And all of these projects do that. So that was the great thing about this kit. Everything can be done in an hour.
It's a good point. You don't want to start something that doesn't end up getting finished and you don't
Right.
know for sure if you're going to have those same kids return the next day. Thank you, Krista, for sharing your success story and how you got the whole community involved with the Traveling Artist Program. To listen to more stories from educators like you, visit edventures.com/spotlight. That's EDVENTURES.com/spotlight.